Hi guys, it's Adam from Alphachain here. I hope you're all well and keeping safe in the lockdown. Hopefully staying productive and teaching yourself new skills. Lots of easy ways to learn new skills online now. I'm also doing the same. So I thought I'd take this time to give you an update on our sets and how things are going, what's been happening over the past month or so. So some of you know we've launched the Link Ether Growth Alpha set. So that went live around end of April. We're currently sitting in around 40% Link, 60% Ether, and we're up around 3-4% on Ether since the start, which isn't too bad. So yeah, that seems to be going well. The outlook for Link Ether, let me just share my chart with you so you can get an idea on what I'm seeing. Just gives you a bit of an understanding on a couple of indicators. Ignore the messy colouring on it. It makes sense to me, but it won't mean much to you. So we can see the trajectory is obviously up. We've had a small pullback recently. We entered around here. We reduced our position around here. I think based on what we're seeing with the trend, there's definitely room for further upside. So that's why we're maintaining our 40% Link position in it for the time being. And we'll soon see how that plays out. Apart from that, we can now move over to Ether. So as we all know, yesterday was the Bitcoin halving. Lots of people second guessing what they think is going to happen. So far, not so much. So we've seen that 10 to 15% pullback across the market, which happened 2 days ago. I've dotted this line here to show you the day of the halving. So we saw a bit of choppy action, not really much activity. And we saw this sell-off broke previous support around this level. So it's still very uncertain as to what's going to come out from this. You know, we are definitely long-term bullish on the Bitcoin price. Having said that, you know, although there's not been that halving in Ether, the fundamentals in Ether are still very strong. We're definitely the growth of DeFi in the space. So from a fundamental standpoint, there's still a lot of room for upside in both assets. So we're still long-term bullish in both. However, that's not to say we're not going to see some short-term bearish volatility coming in the near term, which I think could easily happen. You know, if we zoom out a little bit on the chart, we can see we're still in that bear market. We're still in a negative downtrend. We need to break these highs really, and then ultimately these highs to see that reverse, which I don't think is happening anytime soon, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. So that's kind of how we're seeing the Ether market at the moment. Let's look at the set. So if we check out the LT, so we recently closed an LT trade, an ST trade. So we go back on the 1 year, zoom out. So we gave back some of our USD profits recently, so down to 102. We're still up versus Ether around 36-35% since inception. And as I've explained a few times, I always show performance based on the old ST set because the new ST set only shows recent performance. So I know token sets guys are working on combining both of these on one graph. I think this week is what I've been told. So hopefully that's going to come soon to make it easier for you guys to see the actual whole set's performance, not just a set period. Of course, you can filter by 1 day, 1 week, whatever you want within that anyway. So yeah, so we gave back a little bit of our profits recently, and so wait to see what's happening over the near term. But currently we sit in cash, so CUSDC in the main ST, in the oldest DAI, same thing, sitting in USD for the time being. Okay, so let's move to the LT set. We recently closed an LT set there too. So how are things looking? So we took a bit of a hit on the recent trade. So as it's a longer term model, all the parameters and daily indicators are longer term naturally. So what that means is that it's a slower moving trading strategy. It reacts slower, which, as I mentioned a few times in the chat, this is a good thing when we ride those longer term trends, which we've had over the past couple of years. But not so good in choppy markets like we're seeing now, you know, because it takes a longer time to react. And this is what we've seen now. So this is why we can see this drop here in USD returns since inception. If we zoom out on the year, how are we doing? So actually we're up beneath the term. We've actually come back exactly to square again on the LT. Bit of a shame, but that's the nature of how the market's reacting now and the nature of the model. Of course, as you always say, we look at the longer term situation, and we want these ST and LT models to be able to weather numerous types of storms, not any particular market action. So that's the aim, and that's how they've been built. So yeah, that gives you a quick update on what we've been up to recently, how the models are working, where we are, outlook for the market. As I say, it's still very hard to say. I often get asked this question, and it's a difficult thing to answer because we're in very uncertain times at the moment, not only with coronavirus, but also with the Bitcoin halving. It makes it very difficult to estimate. I've never been one to guess where the market's going anyway, but now it just makes it a lot more difficult. So for now, the models are sitting in cash. The in-house model is now short on the ST. That may be a trade that plays out. Again, it's hard to say. We've seen that pull back, an aggressive move lower. We could see that continue lower and continue that longer term downtrend we've been seeing, but time will tell. I'll try to keep you guys updated every 4 weeks or so with further updates, but as usual, any questions, we've got the Discord and Telegram chat to engage. Hope you're all keeping well, and we'll touch base soon. Thanks.